You are listening to Awake in Relationship, a podcast about intimacy, community, and culture in a time of great change, with Silas Rose.
Hello, and welcome to Awake in Relationship. My name is Silas Rose. If you're a fan of the podcast and perhaps follow me on Instagram or Twitter, you probably noticed I'm a pretty infrequent poster. I'll let you know a dirty little secret. I kind of think social media is the devil. It wasn't always that way. Back in the early days, I must admit, there was a certain novelty to connecting with old friends and sharing your thoughts online. Back then, I'm really kind of talking before 2010, you might actually see posts from people you care about, or be able to engage in some form of civil discourse around important topics. It's hard to know exactly when things kind of took a darker turn. 2015, around the time of the presidential election in the U.S., really seems to be when the town square of the internet turned into a dumpster fire of hatred and misinformation. Despite mounting evidence from whistleblowers and even internal reports from Facebook about the harmful effects social media has on our mental health and the social fabric of our society, it's still somehow hard to imagine having a full and rich social life or business without a strong social media presence. So if you're wondering if there's a life after Instagram, I've got some good news. In this episode, I speak with Bradley T. Morris, creative director at Magic Media, about breaking free from the algorithm and reclaiming our innate creativity and social agency in the real world. We also discuss specific strategies Bradley used in creating his village-based business, which really enabled him to grow a lifestyle as well as a six-figure company, rich in heart-centered relationships. If you're craving more friendships and less followers, this episode's for you. Bradley, good morning and welcome to Awake in Relationship.
Thank you so much. It's nice to be here.
So you are a new connection for me. I actually reached out to you for some help with my platform, and but I was really kind of sold or drawn in by our kind of mutual disdain for social media. So I wanted to have you on the show because I feel like there's kind of a growing awareness around problems with how we engage with the technology, but no one's really kind of offering any real solutions. And I really feel like you have something to say there. So let's start with, maybe just offer a brief introduction and what was the inspiration for you to get off Facebook 5 years ago?
Yeah, so for myself, we had just had my son, Soren, and I had been feeling the desire to leave social media for about 3 years prior to actually leaving. Like most entrepreneurs, I felt like if I left social media, I wouldn't have a business. And so I stuck with the dysfunctional relationship longer than was necessary. And for me, it was mostly about the ethics of social media, what they do to people in general, and how we communicate with each other, the algorithms and how they control people and how they manipulate what people believe. And also just, in the early days of social media, it was about getting to know your friends and connecting with people. But then the algorithms made it so that you had to pay for any form of exposure with the people who were wanting to actually see what you're posting. So there was enough dominoes for me that was like, this is not a productive use of my time. I don't enjoy it. And there was also the addictive nature. So for me, the final straw was I was out for a hike. I was up on a mountain watching the sunset. It was a beautiful sunset. And I caught myself thinking in future tense of the post I was going to be putting on Facebook the next day to describe the moment I was currently having. And I was like, this is ridiculous. Like, this technology is pulling me out of the beauty of the moment so that I can essentially manipulate the moment to benefit me to get more likes and comments and shares and hopefully money eventually. So I didn't like the way that I was altering my lifestyle and my moment to moment experience to try to showcase or present myself in a way that promoted likes, shares, comments, etc. And it was a cycle that I was in. It was a cycle I saw so many people in, and it was unhealthy. It was not a good thing. And so that was my final straw, that and having my son, and said, well, I'm out of here. I'm going to go find a better way.
Yeah, some people take that to the extreme. I think there's a real phenomenon of influencers actually dying in the process of getting that perfect post.
I didn't want to be one of those.
So on the outside, you're a business coach. You run a media company. It seems somewhat counterintuitive to be counseling people to delete their social media accounts. But I really get the sense, at your core, you're a creator, and you really understand not only the inspiration, but the pain that's involved in constantly putting out work. And what are some of the pitfalls that perhaps creators inevitably encounter when they're trying to build a social media following?
Well, I don't know if you've ever tried scrolling to the bottom of the wall, but there is no bottom to the wall. It is a bottomless pit that goes on to infinity and beyond. And so as a creator that wants to put out quality work in the world, I want my work to last. I'm building my body of work to last. And anything that is created for social media lasts the length of the scroll feed. And then it's gone. And it's gone forever. I mean, there used to be 15 seconds of fame when you got famous for somebody. It's literally now, or 15 minutes of fame. It's literally like a TikTok video. You're famous for 3 seconds and then it's gone. Like, people forget about it and they've moved on. There's this weird drug-like addiction to the feed. And so I think most creators will agree with me that they have the best of intentions to post and get off, but they get caught in the newsfeed. They go down rabbit holes. And I would say 90% of those rabbit holes, just a number I'm making up, but all of you creators listen to this, tell me if I'm right. 90% of the time you're on social media is a waste of time and energy. And so, when we think that, if I post good content, people will like it, people will hire me, or if I post good stuff, that will increase my following and my following will buy my stuff. And I mean, what it really actually takes to build the following, the relationships, it takes so much. Let's just say you're putting in 2 hours a day to create the content, write the content, to waste time scrolling the feed. I mean, what else could you be doing with that 2 hours a day? And I think if people take a step out of the conditioning that they've allowed themselves to be conditioned into around the constant necessity of, like, I need to post 3 times a day. I got to come up with content. I have to think of something clever to say. I have to take nice pictures and make good videos so people pay attention to me. I mean, all of that energy could be focused elsewhere. And for me, when I left social media, I realized that I needed to rethink how I grew my business. And every year on New Year's, I think of a word that is going to be my theme for the year. And for the first 2 years after leaving social media, I had the same word, and it was relationships. And so instead of focused on trying to get many people to follow me, I focused on cultivating real one-to-one relationships in the real world, whether it was bridging connections to people through Zoom and podcasts, or it was actually meeting people in the real world, going to more in-person events, etc. And for me, that's helped tremendously. And I have grown year after year after year since leaving social media almost 6 years ago. So I can say for certain it is way better for my lifestyle. My work days have gone from, 10-hour work days to 6-hour work days. So I'm not wasting that bandwidth anymore. And I'm more focused on creating quality than quantity.
Yeah, I won't go into specific strategies that you have used to grow your business, but I really want to kind of address the sort of addiction element, or what is it that keeps people posting? Like, when I really have this sense that there is this kind of underlying fear, and I think you alluded to it earlier in the conversation about why, how is it possible to have a business without social media? What is that fear?
Well, I mean, there's the fear of missing out, of like social media is all the rage. Everybody's doing it. If I don't do it, who will I be? How will I grow? How will people know I exist? And I'll say, like, when I deleted my accounts, I felt like I was erased. It wasn't like all my old friends started reaching out via text message or picking up the phone and calling me. I had to initiate that. I had to initiate connection with people I cared about. I kept a list of the people that I wanted to regularly get in contact with, just so I would remember. And, in a sense, I did disappear a little bit. But if that's what happened, how meaningful were those relationships? How connected were we actually? And so in the process of the last 5 or 6 years, I have built the strongest relationships of my life because I am connecting with people. I've started a dad venture club on my island with dads and kids to go out on adventures. I have a man venture club on my island with men that get together every Tuesday for different adventures. I have my relationships for golf, my business relationships. I have my family relationships. I live on we've got to share land with another family. Like, all of these things have blossomed because I stepped away from an inauthentic way of living and stepped into something that felt more real and true to me. And the addiction is real. I mean, I'll give an example. I mean, there's this new app called Voicey, which mixes beats and you can freestyle over beats. And it's like a very simple, fun app. And so I've been playing around on that. And then a few weeks ago when I was playing, I was like, oh, do you want to share this to Instagram? And I was like, okay, I'll try that. Sure. I haven't been on Instagram. So I resurrected that account and I clicked the share button, but I had to have the Instagram app on my phone. And so I started sharing a daily song. And before I knew it, I was just going to Instagram to mindlessly scroll. It wasn't even about sharing from Voicey to Instagram. It's like, oh, are people liking? Are people commenting? Oh, I was like, the hell with this. I don't care. I'm doing this for me. I'm going to delete Instagram. So I deleted Instagram. I've been better ever since.
Yeah, the first hit is always free.
Yeah, that's right.
So at the core of what you do is really collaboration. And I've heard you talk about this as a village-minded business. What is that?
So, I mean, for me, I live on a small island and have for the last almost 10 years. And when you live on a small island, you're more dependent on the people on your island. I mean, we had this massive storm years ago and the power was out at our house between the winter solstice through New Year's Eve in the middle of winter. And there becomes this dependence on each other and strangers opening up their homes that had power to help people wash their clothes or give them a shower, let them make some food, or just we have an extra bed, come live at our house for the next week while the power gets turned on. And there's this, for me, it's I want to live in a world where I feel this sense of belonging, where I belong to a group of people in a community that holds me accountable, that lifts me up to be my best self. When you're on social media trying to get likes and followers and fans, it has nothing to do with friendship. It has nothing to do with connection. It has nothing to do with meaning. It is literally a popularity contest. And for me personally, I just didn't want any part in that. I wanted to feel meaningful connection and to have authentic, genuine conversations with people. And I'm sure a small percentage of people that engage on social media do get that satisfaction. I think it requires strategy and discipline to be able to get that out of social media. But for me, it was, I want the people in my life to know me. I want to know the people in my life. And social media was not providing a space where I felt that, because everybody on there is trying to present this false version of themselves. That's not a full spectrum version of who they really are. Not everybody, but many people are trying to put a front as a way to gain more popularity.
That sense of belonging really speaks to me in the sense of it's so essential for our mental well-being, and certainly for the sort of future survival of our democratic processes. What specific strategies would you recommend for anyone that's daring to flirt with deleting their accounts, to really grow their business and their reach organically?
So, I mean, first thing is, if you do decide to leave, make a list, create a spreadsheet or whatever of all the people you want to stay in touch with, and start reaching out to them now. Tell them you're thinking about leaving and say, hey, can I get your phone number, your email? What country or city do you live? And just start to organize that in a way so that when you do leave, you're not just like burning the bridge of connections that you have built. And you'll be surprised, you start to make those connections, how many people are thinking about leaving and want to leave. I mean, these conversations about leaving social media are some of the most popular talks I have. And so as far as strategies go, I mean, just question, what is relationship? How can we relate better? How can we bridge more connections? So for me, 3 years ago, we shifted our Magic Media business model from taking on clients to doing revenue share partnerships. So instead of just renting out our services and having a project for 6 months, getting paid a bunch of money, and then having that be done, we now do revenue share partnerships where our team becomes the team of the partner, and we work together for 3 years. And it's a 3-year commitment. And that's been amazing because it leverages everything we do, and we in return leverage everything our partner has been doing for their life's work. And together we build something that would not be possible unless we were working together, and we all make more money as a result of that. So that's a revenue share model that's been phenomenal. It's really transformed how I do business and how I'm able to structure my life. And then, Tad Hargrave from Marketing for Hippies talks about having like a hub list. So hubs are like people who have a network that are connected to what they're doing. So like Magic Media, I have a hub network of people that are following our work. They're on our email lists. They're inside of my communities. And so start to build a hub list of like, who are the people you want to be connected to? These could be podcast hosts, people that host workshops, conferences. They could be other coaches in your industry, and just start to regularly reach out to foster those connections, to engage with those people. And I just did a coaching call yesterday for our Creators Club group, which you're part of. And the topic of conversation was around cultivating connection and what that can do for the business, that to just, without an agenda, set up conversations to try to genuinely learn about these other people that are in your industry and understand what are their struggles right now. What are they looking for? What are they trying to do to move their vision forward? And just to see if there is overlap, or to see if there's anybody in your network you could introduce them to move their vision forward. Because people remember that. People, if you genuinely show up to want to help people move their vision forward, they're going to do the same. And the idea of the network effect is when you build these networks. People, when they open up their network, they're opening up the world to you. For example, one connection I had a call with yesterday gave me 7 different people that I need to connect with for our Magic Kids business. And so that's the power of like one. How many posts would I have needed to make to get one person to introduce me to 7 different people who can all further what we're trying to do at Magic Kids? So that's one. It's just like meditate on the word relationships and what that means to you, and how you can focus more on relationships and relationship cultivation, and what that would mean for you and what it would mean for your business. And see if you can do a whiteboarding session where you restructure your entire business model to better serve and focus on relationships.
How do you track success? Because when you're in the Instagram dashboard, there's very kind of simple metrics, certain amount of engagement. But what you're talking about is very nonlinear.
Yeah. I mean, for me, success has become more about my lifestyle, my health. How much time am I getting with my son? Do the projects I'm working on light me up? Am I learning and growing as a creator? Am I helping to lift people up as I evolve my own body of work? Am I creating things that I hope stick around for another 20, 30 plus years? And at this stage of my career, the answer is yes, like 100% yes in every category. Is I'm becoming the version of myself that I've always aspired to be. And to me, like, what greater metric for success is there? Do I have enough money to pay my bills at the end of the month? Yes. And all these other boxes are checked? Yes. That's fantastic. I mean, for me, I did a visioning exercise 7 years ago with my wife, where we went from new moon to new moon, and we just created a 10-year vision for our life. And we created this vision. We built a vision board for it. And we did a beautiful vision board. I mean, we framed it. We put all of our visions written on the back of it. It's hung over our bed for the last 7 years. And I mean, we can look at that thing, and 60% of what we envisioned and put on there has come to fruition. And we still have 3 years left. And there's all of this extra momentum that is taking place. But the idea of having a 10-year vision was amazing for me, because I was always trying to dream bigger than I could create. My goals every year were just ridiculously huge, and I always failed to achieve what I wanted to achieve. But having a 10-year vision gave me permission to be where I was and to enjoy the journey that we were on. And I feel like as far as a practice goes, like 1 and 2 and 3 year goals are great, but a 10-year vision is where it's at, because that allows you to enjoy every step. And even weeks that are hell for me, I understand how those weeks are setting me up to step into this vision that I have and that I've been walking towards for 7 years.
How do you deal with setbacks?
Well, you just show up and you do what you got to do to get through it. There's been many setbacks. I mean, let's just say for Magic Kids, we raised $100,000 last year to build Magic Kids, and which is our new publishing and production company that Magic Media owns. But we ran out of money, and I've got a team of over a dozen people that I'm working with. And I had to send out the hardest email of my life. Like, everybody's so stoked about the work we're doing, and we're gaining momentum with this project. I was like, we're getting close to the end of the bank, and there's not going to be enough payroll if I keep you working longer than the next 2 weeks. I need you to finish up your projects. And then you got 2 choices. Choice 1 is keep working and bank your hours. I'll pay when we get our next investment round. Or option 2 is find some work elsewhere for the time being until I raise this money. And there was a hard email to send because I wanted to keep pushing, but it would have been irresponsible for me to keep people working without telling them that we were getting low on funds. And 80% of the people that I sent that email to kept working and banked their hours, and we made the investment. And now we're continuing on with the journey. But the setbacks are, for me, they used to be a lot harder, but I think they're they're guiding lights in the journey that are pointing us to look at certain things that need to be looked at and to set up infrastructure so that we can achieve what we're trying to achieve. And so the setbacks they're there for a reason. They're getting us to pay attention and to look closer at what we're doing or the direction we're heading. And I mean, I'm a bullheaded Taurus, so I definitely have no problem with like powering through. Okay, we're going this way, let's go. But I think in the years of having many setbacks is that it's just a part, it's a part of the adventure that we're on when we're a creator and an entrepreneur.
Behind the village-minded business really is this much bigger lifestyle vision, which I think for both of us really is about creative freedom, as opposed to enslavement, which is what happens when we get sucked into the world of the algorithms. How has your own sort of lifestyle vision evolved? Where do you see yourself going from here?
For me, I mean, the what we're doing at Magic Kids of writing all these amazing kids stories and then producing all of these amazing audios with voice actors and producers and musicians to score the music and sound effects. And in our first 14 stories we've released, I've collaborated with over 40 incredible artists. And so for me, I feel like my life's work is to collaborate with amazing artists and to help lift those artists up in projects that I'm inspired to create. It's definitely like my ability to creatively direct people and projects and to inspire vision that and bring people together is what I love to do. So I'm excited to do more than that. I'm hoping that I'm 38 now. I'm hoping that before I'm in my mid 40s that Magic Media is producing our own movies. And so I just want to keep creating. That's the joy for me. I enjoy, I'm a coach by trade. I coach people to create and to build businesses. And I love that because I feel like it's just like it's the give back part of what I do. But my true joy is in making beautiful experiences and creative projects and with people. And then as far as like I play pro golf as my passion hobby. And so I wake up at 5 a.m. all year round and go out and play golf every day in the morning for my first thing in the a.m. walk. In the wintertime, I'm playing with glow-in-the-dark golf balls under the stars. And so that's my obsession. And I'm hopeful that in my 40s, I get to semi-retire from the operational side of my business, which is what I'm building right now, is like building a team to steer the ship so that I can play golf and create and do fun things.
Bradley, it's been such an inspiring conversation. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much for having me on the show. I hope this inspires people to think outside of the social media bubble that you're in and to reimagine what life would be like without social media.
Indeed. How can people find out more about you and what you do?
For Magic Media and the work that we do there, that's magicmedia.com, MAJIK media.com. And for any parents and grandparents out there, you should check out magickids.com, MAJIK kids.com.
Thanks again.
Thank you so much.
If you want to learn more about Bradley or Magic Media, head over to magicmedia.com. That's MAJIK media.com. I'll put some notes in the show notes at awakenrelationship.com. If you've been enjoying the show, I'd really appreciate you just taking a moment to leave a quick review on Apple or wherever you listen to podcasts. And yes, you can follow me on Instagram or Twitter. I love hearing from my audience. You can send me a message there or at the contact page at awakenrelationship.com. I'm always on the hunt for new guests and topics. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, and till next time, stay connected.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Awake in Relationship. If you liked what you heard, please click subscribe to get the latest show delivered fresh to your device, or sign up for our newsletter at awakeinrelationship.com. Sharing is caring.